Very good. Welcome back, Emil Reutter.
Thank you for having me back. So I'm going to read some realism, some love poems, and some poemical poems. And the first is titled Stale Bread and Coffee. He lives in a house in a neighborhood that has been forgotten. The only visitors are the mailman and the trash truck. He waits for the stale bread to toast, reheats yesterday's coffee, listens to the silent telephone. The blinds are drawn and the doorbell is broke. Water drips through the ceiling into a rusted trash can. Windows are silent and the deafening sound of rain has ceased. As half-light of winter's early dusk settles in his bones, he looks out at the barren garden, grass now dirt, moss-covered walkway. The sky is angry, moon pale, dim lights line the street. He steps out onto the stoop, breathes deeply as crisp smell of snow is in the air. Flakes fall from the sky, paint the one remaining tree, cover the dirt lawn. He returns inside, sits in his recliner, pulls up a blanket and hums, "Happy Christmas." He falls asleep. This is a poem for Diane called Glimmer. Silence broken by thunder's roar, rain falls in a torrent, stops abruptly, humidity thickens. And you gaze at vivid colors that saturate sky, dance under two rainbows with no beginning or end. As colors grow intense, you, Glimmer, illuminate the street as beautifully as the rainbow lights up the sky. How's everybody doing? Isn't this a nice thing they do here? They're such great people, aren't they? Give them a hand. In plain view. It's that doorway, bare wood threshold, splintered frame, neglect peeling from the door, dreary panes of glass where every so often lackluster eyes of a life not lived stare out upon the broken sidewalk, crumbled curbs, potholed street, at those who pass by in worn and warped coats, ragged shoes, grit of the day on faces, hands as they search empty trash cans, dumpsters, their withered dreams fade with each step. This dead-end alley opens upon an avenue of new macadam, freshly painted lines, towers of glass prick the sky. Humans, as an army of ants, follow the smell of success into the man-made caverns of cubicles to serve their corporate masters. It's that window high above the avenue, the newest of new skyscrapers shimmer as if a picture window, blue sky blazing, sun captured in the entombed layer of glass boards where a life lost in greed stares out upon those who pass by, the beautiful people in designer clothes, shoes, winter tans, manicures, who search for the next big deal or hope to be in this land of great wealth, poverty, the divide as simple as the intersection of a crumbling alley and an avenue of greed. So I had a really nice Buick Park Avenue. Of course, it was a couple of decades old. And I bought my daughter a new neon when she started college. And after she got her master's degree, she dropped the neon off at my place. And I said, what am I going to do with this neon? And 2 weeks later, my Park Avenue died. So I said to Diane, do you mind if I, drive in the neon? And she said, no, go ahead. So this is called The Last Ride. It was a June afternoon when the battery light flickered on the boulevard as an indicator of what I thought was a small problem. And then on Haldeman, it shut off. A jump and start, repeated every few miles, jump and start, until Diane, in her focus, began to push and bump, bump and push, bump and push and bump, as a pacemaker kicking in until a stop. One last jump as a blood transfusion, and start up it did, and down into the valley of the Pennypack we descended. When ascending Pine Road, it coughed, shuddered, smoke billowed, a final death rattle by the cemetery of the Mission Sisters. We began again. Push and bump, bump and push, push and bump, up the hill to home. And in this spot, the body engine cooled, faded paint as a corpse rust like liver spots. 18 years, 160,000 miles, and like man and all he creates, the end had come. So I'm sure anyone that's been to a bar has observed these kinds of people. This is called happy hour mating ritual. She sat on the dark side of the bar, leans against her husband as they down pints, one after the other. Bicker. Who is doing who? She peeks around the bar, inspects who is watching, smiles, bickers with him some more, as his eyes wonder where hers have already been. He buys a girl a drink, waves and winks at her. His wife shoves him. He falls from the stool to the floor laughing. A bouncer picks him up, warns him, and red-faced, he walks out the door. She stands, saunters around the bar, ignored until she finds a new guy. Watches the door, rubs up on him, and each time the door opens, she drapes her arms on his shoulders. He buys her a drink, she whispers in his ear. Door opens, husband returns. He sees them. Charges, pulls her away. Bouncers grab him, throw him out the door as she runs out to him. Others in the bar buy the new guy around and toast him. Night sounds. As sun disappears in horizon, night drops along church steeples. Business people drop grates one by one. Lights and windows of houses and apartments go dark. Horn of the last commuter train sounds as it rolls over crossing. The last bus pulls from the loop. Rhythmic rumbling of freight train pulsates through night air. Sound of cicada love songs, hum of air conditioners are all that can be heard along the streets, except at the pubs where the lonely gather, sing their own love songs, drink happiness. Last call, arguments break out, parked cars rock back and forth, beer muscles fade, cars pull out, lights dim as the doors are locked. This is for Mary, melting. It was a hot summer day. A half block away, I could hear Mary singing tunes from Les Mis as folks stood under the window. Italian, Vietnamese, Mexican vendors hawking in cadence, houseware stores, hardware stores, and Molly's books intertwined with food vendors. The smell of meat and fish lingered in the air as a minister and three folks laid hands on each other in a parking lot while water ice dripped on the warm cement. I'm going to finish with this one, sir. So this is kind of a hat tip to Stephen King, if you all recall the book It. This poem is titled Pennywise. Space and time dense as the man with little hands, big tie, suit made in a sweatshop, grotesque comb-over, wisps of hair of ever-changing color, prefab teeth, fake tan, fake man shreds the Constitution as if an F5 tornado destroys moral fabric as a runaway wrecking ball. In the wake of this destruction, he peers out at us, the plastic smile, as Pennywise, the dancing clown from the sewer of his mind. Never-ending corruption dwarfs Teapot Dome, Watergate. The rich get richer while this snake oil salesman spins tales of support for working people who pay more and more while he sits on his gold throne and his Tower of Babel. Nightmare continues as nation judders, divide by design. This will end either by the bright light of freedom or in the sewer gas of despair. Thank you.
G. Emil Reutter. Thank you, sir. Once again, you have a new book.
Yes, sir.
A brand new book. It is on the merch table. I'm going to check it out.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you so much. This Cafe Improv happens on the fourth Saturday of every month.